Josiah here, and today we're going to be telling you how to pack this. So, as you know, we already have a what's in the pack video where I went and pulled stuff out of the pack and showed you what I had and kind of what it is and does and all that stuff. But today I'm actually going to be showing you how to pack it and what items you should have in it. So I'm just going to skim through them because you already have the what's in the pack video. Not make sure that you go check out that video. Just search what's in the pack on our YouTube channel on the homepage. So yeah, first we're going to be talking about the bare necessities. So you need a first aid kit. That is always a necessity. Fire starting, that is of course a necessity. You see I have matches here. I have some stuff split. I have some twine, that really helps. But also a flint and steel in this bag, that also helps. And then of course, Bible. You need to have that every day if you need to read it every day. So next we have our sleeping arrangement. So you could have a hammock. Basically, if you know what a hammock is, you hang it between two trees. They do have a hammock underquilt, which we actually do have one. I just don't have it with me right now. Basically, it's just like a blanket kind of thing that works kind of like a puffer coat, if you know what that is. And it just goes underneath your hammock. Super easy to hang up, especially if you get Wise Owl brand. Love that brand of hammock and underquilt. And then the other way you could sleep is with tent. This just a light backpacking tent, something like that. Tents fold up smaller than this, and some are bigger. So a right tent. One tip about tents is maybe get a tent that's a person or two size bigger. Like for instance, if you have two people, maybe get a 3-person tent because they're often like you could fit 2 sleeping bags in, but it's tight. So you wouldn't really want to sleep like that. That'd be kind of weird. So, and then also rope is not a bare necessity, but it is a really nice thing to have. Sleeping bag, this looks pretty big. It packs down much smaller than this. Not much smaller, but definitely smaller. Yeah, so just a good sleeping bag is something that you really need. Clothing, such as a raincoat, puffer coat, underlayer, extra wool socks, preferably wool socks. And then eating arrangement, food. And then to cook it, you have this to cook over your fire. This is just a cast iron set. I don't love cast iron, but it's cheaper. So that's what I have right now. But this is just a pot and pan. I'm not going to take time to show you that right now, because I do have another video that's not out yet, but it's about this. And then this is a camping sport. Has a flint and steel and a knife in it. So be careful with that, but it's also really nice. I got it for like $15 on Amazon. Not 50, 15. And then I have a map and compass. You don't always need a map. That's not a bare necessity, but a compass is definitely a bare necessity. Definitely need to have one of those. Camp stove. This is just a Jetboil. They're fairly heavy for backpacking, but they are really nice. So I think that is all of our bare necessities. We do have a video about horseshoe. Thing called a horseshoe pack, which basically you just roll everything up in a blanket and then you pick it up. It's called a horseshoe pack because it goes into a horseshoe shape when you pick it up. So that's nice. Make sure that you check out that video. Okay, now we're gonna move on to some accessories. We have essentials and accessories. So this is more rope. We already had rope. This is more of like a climbing rope. It's, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch climbing rope. Oh, this is only 20 feet, but I really, really like it. A good climbing rope, you'll be able to tie knots in fairly easy. It won't be super stiff, and when you rub your fingernails on it, it shouldn't like come all apart or whatever. And then, of course, you need a Rubik's Cube. No, actually you don't, but that's just fun, something to do. And then a survival bushcraft handbook, something like that. This shows you how to do a lot of things. I haven't actually read this book, but Finesse really likes it, so. And then a sleeping pad. We couldn't decide if we were going to put this with essentials or accessories. We decided to put it with accessories because sleeping mats are often fairly heavy. Not as heavy as sleeping bags, but fairly heavy for their size. But a good sleeping mat will help your back a lot. And then binoculars. I love taking binoculars, especially if I'm going to be like hiking. This is for backpacking, so you're most likely going to be hiking, but I really like binoculars. Those are really nice. A camp shovel. This is just, it folds out. I've used it in several other videos. I don't know if they're out yet, but I used it in several videos. Basically, it's just like a foot long. Has a shovel with a pickaxe on it, so it's really nice. Headlamp. I did a video on this, but it's not out yet. Then, of course, sunglasses. Gotta be Oakleys. No, they don't have to, but sunglasses. Good sunglasses will really help you, especially depending on how your eyes are. My eyes are really sensitive. Yeah, and then a survival bracelet can be really helpful. You can wear. Then, of course, a knife or two. So always be very careful with knives. Don't point them at other people. Don't play with them or whatever. But I have a Swiss Army knife here, a regular pocket knife. I don't even know what this is called, but it's just a little tool that you can stick in your pocket really easily. Multi-tool, sheath knife, right here, hunting knife, whatever you want to call that. A carving knife. This is definitely an accessory. You can just take that along for fun. I enjoy doing it. A tree saw. This is actually a wider saw. Be very careful. It does let you just hold the ends and then you just rub it back and forth. And what it seems super sharp, and it doesn't even feel super sharp, but it is actually works pretty well. And then, of course, a whetstone to keep it all, or to sharpen it. So that is all the stuff. So now I'm going to pick out what all I'm going to take, and then I will show you what to do. All right, so I've sorted through my stuff. I don't know if you can see this over here, but I have this stuff over here is the stuff I chose not to take. Climbing rope, not all of my knives, whetstone, not taking the whetstone. I know enough about survival because, of course, this is a survival channel and I'm doing it. So I don't need that. I don't actually need a Rubik's Cube. Camp stove, I'll just use a fire. And then I chose to sleep in a hammock instead of this, which actually on my pack, these straps down here, you can strap that down here. Or then when you go to close the lid, you can just stick it on top and then close the lid over top. But that's often you just do that for a smaller tent. So I'm going to go ahead and start packing this. So there's two main things you want to consider when packing a backpack. Order of importance and order of weight. So you want to have the heaviest stuff close to the back and about, and then the stuff that you won't need is soon closer to the bottom. So I often put my clothes at the bottom, except if I have like a stick that at the top. But just to make it easier, I'm just going to have that actually fill up the whole pack. And this is a 75 liter, so it's pretty big. Also, rope, you probably won't need that. That's how you have to pack it. It's in a hip milk. This could probably go down. If you don't want this for hiking, then go ahead and stick that in. Headlamp you're going to want near the top. That you're going to want near the top. Map and compass. And then you can wear some of this stuff in a sleeping bag. Which can go around and tighten the straps. I'm not going to tighten it as much as I sometimes would to like stick your puffer coat or raincoat right down in there. That's a great place to do that. Now, otherwise, I'm going to go ahead, close this up. Because I have quite a bit of empty space, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these straps. Yeah, you could always like kind of rearrange it, But yeah, I have that on the top. Even though it's might not be the first thing you're going to use, it's one of the heaviest things in your pack, at least for me. So I'm going to go ahead and stick my first aid kit in there. I want quick access to that. My map and compass, I want to have access to that without taking my pack off. Also, you can attach a string to your put that and your compass around you. Snaps in this hip belt pocket. Then I'm gonna go ahead. So some backpacks will have, like this one has a water reservoir slot or whatever you want to call it, water wire, if we have to call it. You just stick that in there and run the hose out here. It comes down here and goes through there, and then it's just hanging there. But if not, then these pockets are great. Like I can put snacks in there. You can put stuff up here. So I'm gonna leave apps open or using quite a bit. So sometimes I put my tent up here, but this is tight. So I'm gonna go ahead. This comes out not at a terrible pack weight. I would say probably 25, 30 pounds. So that's fairly heavy, but a general rule is so that is how you back. Basically, you have your clothes and stuff down here, cooking stuff, food, and things that you will be using for your campsite. Sleeping mat, sleeping pad, sleeping mat. But also, you're sleeping right in the down here. That's the pad that goes up bottom. Top, first aid kit and stuff, and other things you'll be needing on the trail in these random pockets. So that's how you pack your backpack. Thanks for watching this episode of Survival Guys.